Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Junior Golf Podcast. My name is Ro Thompson. Man, I tell you, we have a special guest on the podcast tonight. I'm so excited to have this couple on. I think we connected probably a couple weeks ago, and I received their book in the mail. And man, as soon as I got the book, I started reading it and just kind of diving into it and start seeing some similarities with me and my family. And so, I said, man, I got to get them on the podcast. That's the only way to do it. So, but anyway, I want to introduce everybody. Our special guests tonight, Mark and Britt McKinney. Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
Good. Thanks for having us, Ro.
Good. Good to have y'all on tonight. And hopefully, this is going to be. I know it's Britt's first, yours, your second or third, but I think it's going to be the first of many, in my opinion. So let's dive into it a little bit, and let's talk a little bit about. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, and we'll get into junior golf and the whole nine. So take it away.
Okay. So we have been married for over 20-something years, and the older you get, the more time you spend together, and we have learned personalities and all that on the golf course with our son, following him around. He's 18 now. He's been playing junior golf for probably 9-10 years, and we just have grown as a family through experiences on the golf course, and we just decided to get this book together to help other families not make the mistakes that we made, because it's kind of funny sitting out there now watching and saying that was us, that's what we did.
Right.
And we still do it sometimes. So we're just a normal, typical family, nothing special about us at all. I'm an administrator in a school district, and Mark works full-time for a computer software. So we're just normal people.
Good.
And Ro, I will share out of the gate. So we are a Clemson family. So I don't know if you're gonna hit the eject button or not on the podcast. But anywho, just want to get that out front. So you and I didn't have any bad blood already.
No, not at all. It's as a matter of fact. So my wife is a graduate of South Carolina, and I'm a graduate of South Carolina State.
Okay.
And in 2 weeks, South Carolina and South Carolina State will be battling on the football field. So, hey,
I love it.
House divided, right?
There you go.
Well, listen. So it's still great to have y'all on the podcast tonight. So, talk to us about how you got your son started in junior golf, and just talk to us about Ben for a couple seconds.
Yeah. So as Britt mentioned, we've got two kids. We got a daughter who just graduated Clemson with a master's. She's 22, and then Ben is 18. He's a senior at Woodruff High School, so has been in it for about 9 years or so playing golf. But I grew up sort of in and around the game. Grew up in McCormick, South Carolina, the metropolis of McCormick. For anybody that knows where that is.
Yeah.
Two red lights and golf courses and a lake. But so grew up at McCormick Country Club, a 9-hole course there, and learned sort of everything about life that you should and shouldn't learn, right? But so have been around the game since I was probably 9 or 10. And then when Ben started getting old enough to sort of walk, and when he was getting a little bit more athletic at 5 and 6 yeyears old, he just started picking up clubs and putting balls, and that, just like most kids do that have dads that play golf. So he just he saw me doing it and said, hey, I want to do something that my dad's doing. And then Britt can share about sort of your heritage there, if you will, from a golf perspective.
So I grew up in a golf family as well. I grew up in Lincoln, Georgia, right outside McCormick. It's on the Georgia-South Carolina line, not far from Augusta. And I my first trip to the Masters, I was in the second grade, and it was I loved it. My dad played all the time, and that was 2 or 3 days a week that he played golf, and so that was just a normal thing. A lot of wives get upset that their husbands go play golf all the time and spend their time on the golf course, but that's how I grew up, so that never bothered me.
Right.
And then when Mark and I started dating, our Friday nights were spent at their local country club, playing golf on Friday, doing wingdings, where the men and women played together, captain choice. So I kind of learned golf that way. And then I realized that's really not what I need to be doing. I was frustrated with it. And I see a lot of Ben's actions come out. He's acting like me sometimes.
Gotcha. So it's your fault. It's your fault, Ben.
Yes, it's all my fault. All my fault.
Right. Well, good. That's awesome. So talk to us a little bit about why y'all decided to put the book out. Because, I mean, it's, you see a lot of old school books out there, but this is a new, fresh look at junior golf. And like I said, I'm about probably 30% through the book.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about why y'all put out the book.
It started off as just sort of as a tongue-in-cheek idea, playing with our sons were playing together. A gentleman named Eric Smith. We were actually at Sherrall State Park for an SCJGA event for a lot of the folks who will be familiar with that. And
right.
And Eric and I started joking and laughing about the different kind of dads you run into. Like, there's that crazy dad that disappears. There's the dad who used to play, either semi-pro or pro and, knows everything. There's the I'm going to sell everything as soon as we get home. It's going on eBay. So we started laughing and we said, hey, it'd be great if we ever did a book to call it The Golf Fathers, and as a play on Godfathers. Right. And we kind of let it lay. And then it started hitting me. That conversation stuck with me tournament after tournament because I just I would get frustrated, wrongly so, if Ben played poorly or feeling like he was making bad decisions. And I found myself seeing myself in other dads more often than not. And I was like, wow, I'm not the Lone Ranger here. Like everybody's got this illness or sickness or whatever you want to call it, the daditis, right? When everybody's tense. So, I and we've got two schools of thought on it, but I really saw it as an opportunity to say like, hey, I got it wrong so much and so often, and I'm seeing myself in so many other folks I'm walking the fairways with. Like, there's got to be we got to write down kind of the things where I got it wrong, where we got the experience wrong, so that others don't repeat the same mistakes and such. So you may have some additional thoughts on that.
I think it's like this with life in general, is that most people listen to people who have been through hard times or they've been through the experiences that people have been through. And so listening to somebody, a man, tell me as a woman, this is how a mom ought to act on the golf course, or this is what a mom ought to do, you don't really want to read about that. So a mother's perspective is sometimes, we have the common sense there that we kind of settle these men down sometimes on the course and get to laughing and get tickled. And, it's funny to me that the dads will come up and say, your husband is so nervous. Like he's walking, I can tell. And then I want to go, but you are too. You just don't see it. You don't see the fault in yourself. You only see it in other people. So, but it's just funny to watch. Sometimes I think there's a camera out there filming us with what's going on as parents.
Right. I tell you, I'm hearing some similarities, with us as well. And, I think, by me reading your book, I have some time to get it right, Mark, so.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got a few years on you. So
I'm working on myself. So what's the primary goal of the book? Who are you trying to help with this book?
Yeah. So it's interesting, when we thought about writing like a golf specific book, our first thought was like, nobody's going to listen to us because like there's umpteen experts out there around like how to get better at the game. We were quick to sort of point out like, that's not our thing. Like this book is not meant to say, you're going to shave 10 shots off your score. Your handicap's going to go down. Your short game's going to get better. Right. This is all about like, how can we be the best parents that we can be to support our junior golfer, or how can other parents be the best parents they can be to support a junior athlete? Because again, every tournament we go to, and it's the same across golf and basketball, and she was the basketball fanatic, right? But baseball and parents are just crazy, and I say that doing this, right? Parents are crazy. And that it has the opportunity to damage relationships. It has an opportunity to put undue pressure on kids. So I would say, kind of long answer to your short question, is that it's really a way to for parents to kind of look into a mirror and say, just like you're mentioning, you're 30% of the way through, and you can see yourself in the book already. So I think it's a way to, one is kind of provide a mirror, and say like, hey, am I doing those things? Am I putting my relationships at risk with my kids or a kid? So we consider it more of a self-help book, right? For parents. Like, you think that's fair?
Yeah. And for me, it was comforting to finally, like this summer at the Blade, I had a mom come up to me and she was like, she gave me what her name was, and I said, hey, and she said, and I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, I already know everything about you. And I said, have I played with y'all before? And she said, no, I read your book. Wow. And she said, I'm going to bother you and I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. And so she was asking about specific things. And she said, I just cried when I read that part because that's exactly how I feel, but nobody's ever said that to me. And I didn't know that I could feel that way. I thought it was wrong to feel that way. And so, we just want comfort, and we want people to know, everybody is emotional. They can say they're not, but they are, and they want the best for their child. And the good thing about being out there is on the golf course is that we end up loving, once you build this relationship with these parents and you go through this traumatic day of 90 on the course, and their child has that too. Right. You comfort them, you try to help them out, or they are doing it for you, or you're both having a bad day. You build that bond together, and you never forget it. And it's just it's great that you have we have that the book to talk about while we're out there.
Yeah. I've got, and Mark, off air, I got a crazy junior dad story I got to share with you, but I'll do that off air. Okay.
Oh, I can't wait. Maybe we'll do a commercial break.
yeah, something like that. But so who helped y'all with the project?
So that was probably one of the biggest points of guidance that Britt gave me, because I started thinking like, hey, it's going to be the Golf Fathers, and we'll start with that. And then I said, we'll start putting some advice. And she's we've been married 26 plus, and she was very quick to say like, hey, people don't want to hear our advice. They want to hear advice from people out there. So we started looking at our circle of people that we knew. So it's a collection of about 40. There's pro and college athletes. There's a Heisman candidate finalist who Britt's friends with. There's female college coaches. There's business leaders. There's sports psychologists. There's a professional rodeo rider who's in there, and we posed two questions to them, like, hey, what advice would you give to the parents of a junior athlete to most effectively support them, and then what advice would you give to the junior athlete? We just asked those two questions. So there's 38 people that go through and provide that advice. So everybody from tell your wife to close her ears, from Dabo Swinney to Dr. Mark Brody, the father of Strokes Gained is in there. I have the privilege of working with Maverick McNeely's dad, and so we got a really interesting perspective from Maverick's mom and dad, Scott and Susan, about, hey, what was it like raising? What were your thoughts raising a guy that ended up on the PGA Tour? So I say all that to say that it's a collection of people who are way smarter than we are, and I think what readers will find is two things. One is, like, if you don't like what we're saying, flip to that section, and the book is worth it, because you get the advice from those people. Other perspective. But as you start looking across those 38, you'll see these themes pop up, from folks who have professional sports to high school coaches to whatever. These themes are consistent across all these different backgrounds, and it's really, really poignant advice for folks. So that's what we tell people is if you think we're nuts in the first portion of the book, just flip over to the advice section. But I think that in and of itself makes the book for us, because it's not us, it's those other voices. You think other perspectives. That's good. Yep. Anything you want to add to that, Britt?
No, I mean, that's I think that's it. Just when you see the people who have been successful as athletes, more than just golfers, it's consistent with what their advice is and what their parents' advice is, and what they did and what they could advise us to do as parents. So it's let your kid be a kid, and it's just good advice from everybody in there.
That's good. That's good. And so talk about the title. When I read the title, the only thing I could think about, Mark, was me pouting on the way home.
Okay, well, let me go first then. Okay.
So, and I was like, this is the
This
perfect
is,
title,
yeah,
for junior parents, because the kids don't want to talk. We upset at how they played. And it's like
right,
silence all the way home. So talk to us a little bit about
right.
the title.
So Mark and I don't, this is still a very sensitive subject here, so he might get up and walk away. But we had a tough day on the golf course. And I hate to say one of the moms, she came up, she said, I know the exact golf course you're talking about. You don't even have to tell me what it was. And she was right. She knew what it was. By the 16th hole, though, the wheels had just fallen off and there was no recuperate. I mean, it was just gone. And so at that point, let's get through the day. That's all we need is to get through the day and try to keep the ball in bounds.
Right.
So Mark had put in his AirPods and was walking, and I was like, I mean, he was stomping up the cart path. He had gotten out of the golf cart with me. We were separated at that point. We were not going to ride together. I mean, I really thought, let me just run over him because he is frustrating me so bad. I mean, I told him to go to the car. Your body, your emotions, your body language is, he's reading that. You're making it worse. So, and my thoughts as a mom, I want to fix everything immediately.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you shoot 69 or 169. When you get done, I'm going to love you and I'm going to hug you and I'm going to say, I love watching you play. That's all that matters, where we're going to eat, because that's what we go for, is what we're going to eat. So we get in the car. Mark doesn't say a word. We go eat with another family. The only words he speaks at the Cracker Barrel is what he wants to eat. I mean, no words whatsoever. So we get in the car, head home, get on 85. And he is flying. It is awful. And I'm like, we're going to die because he's going 95. And I had to break the silence. I mean, that's just me. And I turned around, and we're in a big old Suburban now. I turned around and I told the children, I said, let me tell y'all something. One day you're going to look back and remember this is the day that we were going 95 down 85 and your daddy's going to kill us. And so it just kind of it made him madder because he was like clenched into the steering wheel. It was not good, but I mean, I had to do something. And so anyway, we get tickled about that now. And I'm like, all right, I hope this isn't one of those days that we're going to be going 95 down 85. But now Mark has a totally different story to how that all came out.
Correct. But you are correct. So when we had several different names for the book, and Britt won with the drive home, and it's documented in the book. It's the Cracker Barrel story. So for those that haven't read it yet, when you read it, you'll get to the Cracker Barrel story. But she said it's got to be the drive home because that was the drive home. But my story, and I'll stick to it, is that we, in our research, we came across the work of Bruce Brown and his team at Proactive Coaching, and they did a study, like a 12-year study, and you're probably familiar with it. They interviewed like millions of kids, like college athletes all the way down, and they said, hey, tell me the best and worst thing about youth sports. And the large majority said the worst part was the car ride home. And the best part was when the parents or grandparents, whatever, said, I love to watch you play. So that body of research, we took a look and said, man, like that car ride home. And then again, me sharing that research with her, and she's like stamped it. She's like, it's got to be the drive home because that's what it's all about. That's where, the golf course, we can go our separate ways, and I can mumble my words and I can go here.
Right.
But hey, you got to get home, and so we all pack in that same car riding home. And as you said, like those car ride homes they can be tough. And albeit that was years ago, I've grown a lot since then. I read a book about it.
Hey, listen, y'all had me cracking up because my wife and I, when we're on the course, she said, your body screams.
That's right.
Your body language screams. And it's just so hilarious. So, if I'm upset, I'll start walking the course. If she's upset, she'll start walking the course. And so I'm listening to y'all, and I'm like, oh, man, we go through the same stuff. It's just
Yeah.
it's a trip. It's a trip.
Yeah.
Uh, so so as a parent,
Mhm.
um, talk about the enjoyment that you all have gotten, even though it can be frustrating at times.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the positive. What's been your enjoyment throughout this junior golf journey?
I think just the memories that we've made as a family, it just, I don't know. There's nothing that's going to replace that. Like, I think I'm going to miss it. I already, we're going into our senior year. This summer was hard. It was tight on my chest. We didn't have a good summer with golf. And score wise, but we had fun and we laughed and things like that. But I know that's coming to an end. And we dove into this, and we've been into it for 5 solid years of traveling and all that. And so it's just been something that I'll never forget as far as memories and the fun that we've had, and not even with just Ben, but with Katie Britt getting to go with us on trips. And when you sleep in a hotel room after you've been out on the golf course for 6 hours in a day, funny things happen. You're tired, and you make some good memories doing that. And so it really doesn't have anything to do with the golf. It's just that our family bond is really strong. We just, I don't know, we're closer than we've ever been because of this whole experience.
Yeah. I'd say for me similar, but probably 2 things. One is the relationships. I can remember when we first got into playing SCJGA events, and we went with really close friends of ours, and they had been in it for years. And the first tournament we went to, like the wife and the husband, they knew everybody, and we were like, we don't know anybody.
Right.
And our friends said, just wait. And so now the tournaments we go to, like, we look across fairways and we're like, hey man, there's Chip, or there's Charles, or there's Sally, or there's whatever. And hey, tell us how your son's doing. So we've created these just amazing relationships, all this stuff that goes on outside the ropes. So they're playing golf and doing their thing, right? And outside the ropes, we got this whole other thing going on. So I think both of us have laughed with people, have prayed with people, have cried with people on the golf course, people we haven't seen in a while. So I think the relationships is one, and the relationships that the kids create. But the other is, I think for me, is to watch, your player grow up before your eyes. So you watch them when they're 9 and 10 and 11 and 12, the decisions they make and how they react to adversity. And I told Ben just maybe a couple of weeks ago, I said, man, like, it's like somebody's, like, the transformation in you. Like, it's like overnight, he went from a boy to a man, just in how he carries himself. And it's been a ton of work that he's put into it, but just to watch that, one of the things we talk about in the book is, like, adversity is a great teacher if you just let it happen. Yeah. And I think our struggle for the longest time, I know my struggle was, like, we were like, man, get adversity out of the way. We didn't want to be lawnmower parents, but it's like, take that adversity out. And so those 2 things, the relationships and then watching kind of that growth has been tremendous. And like I say, now the high school is coming to an end. So bittersweet.
Well, yeah. And it is, but it's not. Let me tell you why. I stay in contact with some of the junior parents that was there through the juniors, and now they're going to the college tournaments. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because you're not traveling with them and you're not taking them, but every chance that they get, they go to the college tournaments to see the kids play. So you get a little taste,
there you go.
Once they go to college. So now what's your favorite piece of advice that was shared in the book?
I'd say for me, there's a couple. One is Coach Sutherland. She's the women's coach, associate head coach at Nebraska now. She was the head coach at SMU for years, and she's got an amazing blog out there as well. But she and I ended up talking on the phone a good bit through this process, and she played competitively. And if I get the wording right here, she said, when I played poorly, my parents were disappointed for me, not in me. When I played well, my parents were happy for me, not with me.
Gotcha.
So she separated. She said, to the fact that my score was never my value to my parents.
Right.
And hey, let that soak in. Hey, tell me about that car ride home when you shoot 68 versus a car ride home when you shoot 88, right? And think about that.
Yeah.
And it's not that you love your kids any less, but like, we're competitive, and you start thinking about that. So for me, that's number one. Is that just washed over me, and really hit home with me. So I thank Coach Sutherland for that. And the other piece is shared sort of through there's a poem / short story that we share in the book, and I don't want to give away the plot, but it's called the Caterpillar.
Okay.
And I'll give you the Cliff's Notes version of it. But there's a cocoon, and this guy comes walking up, and he sees this thing struggling in a cocoon. So this guy opens it up, right, and takes it out. And when he takes it out, it's a poorly formed butterfly, and the butterfly can't fly, and he's crawling around doing this kind of thing. And it's just such a descriptive story, right, man? The growth is in the struggle, and like that caterpillar is supposed to struggle inside that cocoon in order to become the butterfly he's supposed to be. So, those are probably the two biggest ones for me. So I'll see what you say.
Adversity, as we said earlier, adversity is a great teacher. And those are the days. One of the golf moms, when we were, I think Ben was in 7th grade, so it was first year playing on the high school team. I was talking to her, and her son was the number 1 golfer, and she just said, what do they learn on the days that they play well? They really don't learn anything. They learn on the days that they struggle.
Shoot bad.
And so make sure that you talk about those things, and that's true. That we learn more from things that we go through that are hard and that we have to deal with than we do on easy days. When everything goes the way we want it to go, and so. For me, that's important. And these kids know that it's okay that you're going to make mistakes, because you make mistakes in life, and that's how that is.
Right. It's a lot like life. And, one of the things that calmed me down, Mark, was the fact that I guess about 2 years ago, it got to the point where I couldn't beat my son anymore. So
amen, brother.
why am I getting upset if he hits a bad shot?
Yeah.
I can't beat him.
Yeah.
So why am I getting upset? Just let it go. Everybody's gonna hit a bad shot or two here and there, and you just gotta, stay cool.
Yeah.
And that's true. There's side conversations that go on between mothers and sons that fathers and sons don't have. But I can remember one day Ben coming home from the golf course and saying, and I don't even think Mark knows this, but he said something about, I tried to help Dad today, and he got so mad at me when I was telling him what to do, and I don't understand why.
Right.
I mean, when I'm on the golf course, I listen to what he says, and I don't bark back at him, and I'm like, "Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay."
Yeah, my son has given up with helping me, because he said, "Daddy, you just won't change what
we won't listen."
No, we won't listen.
Right. That's right.
So how have y'all helped Ben with the mental part of the game?
Yeah.
So Mark came home and told me that he had talked to one of Ben's coaches, and that and this is in the book, that his son was seeing a mental coach. And I was like, no, not mine. Mine baby doesn't need a mental coach. He's good. He's smart. He is good. And so it took me a while to, say, okay. And we were playing at a Monday tournament, and Mark told me, he said, she's coming. Tammy's coming to meeting. And, I'm still like, oh, gosh, this is making me really nervous to admit that my child needs help.
Right.
And, a coach is different for golf, or a swing coach or putting coach or whatever. But a mental coach, that's more than just your athletic ability. And
right.
So, anyway, she walked up on the porch, and I heard a mom behind me, and she said, "That's Tammy McKinney. Who is she here for?"
Yeah.
And I thought, oh gosh, I'm about to be marked as the bad mom that's letting the coach come. And I turned around, and she looked, and she said, "Is she here for Ben?" And I said, "Yeah, she's here for Ben." And so they walked inside, and she was like, "I have heard so many good things about her. You're going to have to let me know what she says. And, I need her number." And she said she works with our softball team. So she went, she knew all about her. So after that, I was like, oh, well, if y'all parents think she's good, then she's good.
Right.
She can work with him.
She's okay.
But, Yeah. So that was the beginning of that. And, Tammy will tell the parents, she's not going to tell us what she talks to the kids about, and she doesn't. Ben can tell us what they talk about if he wants to, but we really don't ask. And at this point, he'll tell us, I probably need to go see her for a little bit. And he'll go, and that's like what Mark talked about, the maturity level. It's good, and she's made such a difference. And I can remember being so nervous at the state championship, and we were on like number 15, and we didn't really know how the other kids were doing. I knew that Ben was beating the guy he was with, but I didn't know whether we were going to win or not. It was the second day, and I can remember looking up and seeing her, and Ben saw her, and he was like, "There she is." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, she has come out here to watch this. How great is that?" So,
right.
She really is a good person, and she makes the kids believe that she believes in them, and she does, so, and that makes a difference. So, find a mental coach. That's a great thing to have.
I got two things to say on that. The first thing is I got a question. How long has Tammy been working with Ben?
For 3 years, maybe.
Yeah.
3 years?
Maybe right. 3.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason I asked that is because we had, as parents, we know that, we're going to provide the kids with equipment and lessons and tournaments and, the whole nine. But I think the last piece, Mark and Britt, for most parents, and they never get around to doing this, is the mental coaching part.
Yeah.
And so I had been struggling and fighting with it. And it's not, it wasn't because, I didn't, want to look bad. It was more so the expense part of it. It was the expense part of it. It was the, it's not tangible. It's in the head, so, but I finally broke down within the last couple of weeks, and John had his first session last week. And this is what he told me verbatim. I really like that class because it's changed the way I think. Because we were trying to get, we've been trying to get him to have a goal of 72 or better, but he would tell me and my wife that seems too unrealistic. That seems too much pressure. And then he comes out of the session on Friday, and within the last week, now he's talking about shooting in the 60s. So it's like, it's somebody else telling them and not necessarily us.
It is.
And that's hard as a parent. When somebody else is controlling the mind of your child. So get you a good coach when you get a coach. But it's made a difference. And he was quick to tell us that, Tammy said I can be mad until I hit the next shot. So if I want to mumble and I want to groan and complain, I can, because she told me I could. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, she told you could, then you can. That's fine.
What was neat, Ro, is that at the state championship, and we were fortunate enough to win it, is Tammy was there, and she took a picture with 4 of our players from our team. And so, man, if you think it doesn't make a difference, you just take a look at that. And the only other thing I'll add is that I think it's been more beneficial for us than it has for being like that. So she, like the advice and guidance, she's got several books out there. So, and she's referenced, she actually wrote the forward to our book, and she's got some amazing Facebook groups and such out there.
She's got a parent group that's really will hit you in the gut sometimes about what she says. It's like, oh, she watched me.
But I bet we've given her business card out to 50 people. Like, so you walk into the tournaments and somebody's like, man, if Johnny Boy, if he could just get over being mad, I'm like, let me give you the name of somebody. And so there's people everywhere that she's talking to. So get you a good one. It is well worth it. Tammy, for our sake, is completely affordable. She does Zoom sessions, face-to-face sessions, and she texts and keeps up with the kids. So I can't speak highly enough of her and of the whole concept.
That's really good, because I'm gonna have Tammy on soon. And one of the things that I like about John's performance coach is he not only does a session for the kids, but he does one for the parents too. So that looks like it's just going to be pretty good.
That should be great.
So before we wrap up, let's talk about summarizing, what's the one piece of advice you would give a parent as they go through the junior golf journey? And we'll start with you, Britt, and then we'll get Mark take.
I just think that it's more so you can give all the advice in the world that you want to give, but it's what you model as a parent and how you act on the golf course. And so if I see another child that's struggling, or the parent looks like they're having a hard day with the performance of the child, I will try to praise that child, because you can always find something good. Every single shot is not bad. I mean, the parent might think it is, but what you do as a parent and let them see how you act, model that, so that they in turn can't, if you get all frustrated and angry, then that's what they do. So I try to act better than, I had a lot of emotions inside, because I want to, strangle that parent or strangle Ben sometimes, but
right.
I try not to let that come out, because it means so much to all the kids you play with. They watch the parents as well. They see what you're doing. And so my advice is just, I try to model how I want other parents to act, and, just be calm, because the more anxious you get and the more, I don't know, the activity that you do. Mark likes to pop his fingers and bite his fingernails and do all these hand motions and everything. There's one parent that picks on him, and it never fails when we're at a golf tournament. We're like, he picks on Mark, but look, that's exactly what he's doing. Doing all this stuff. So just kind of, be aware of what you're doing, because it makes a difference. And even just dropping your head, they see that. Those kids see that. So be careful with how you act.
Hey, Britt, it's funny you said that, because my wife always says, bro, every time John hits a shot, he hits a bad shot, he looks at you. I'm like, why is he looking at me?
Yeah.
He shouldn't be looking at me. He should be focusing on the shot. I'm like, don't look at me.
That's why you just smile and say, come on, keep going.
All right. And Mark, what's your take? What's your final tip?
Yeah, I'd say, and we focus a lot on this in the book as well, but understand that the player's why. So sometimes they're mismatched. And Ryan Daly and the crew over at Operation 36 Golf have an awesome model for this, about determining kind of the what the kid's playing for. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the kid's just playing for social. Like, we play with kids right now that would rather be fishing, hunting, bow hunting, riding a bike, or whatever, and they're on the golf course purely for social. And over here, the parents are up in arms like, God, he just shot 84, and the kid could care less. He just wants to be out there social. So really get in tune with the why of why your players play, and is it to be competitive? And if it is, like, as parents, do everything you can to support them. Exactly. But also understand it's their journey, and this took me a while to understand this. It's not mine. So I got caught living vicariously through him, thinking like, hey, if he shoots 70, then I get to tell everybody he shot 70, kind of thing, right? And if he shoots 80, I can't, that sort of thing. So understand the why. Don't live vicariously. And Britt says this all the time, like, this too shall pass. Like, we can go back now and recount some of the worst. It felt like we were on an airplane in a hurricane. Like, man, get this thing on the ground. and then the next day comes, though, and the sun keeps coming up, and the world keeps turning, and that sort of thing. And if you look at things that are happening in life, and you look at things that people are dealing with, the fact that we're blessed enough to be on a golf course, hitting a golf ball, socializing with friends, and spending time with family when somebody else is struggling with a kid in the hospital or something like that, then it makes you feel silly, right? So yeah,
that's all right. That's some really good advice. I mean, I recommend, I don't know if everybody can see it, but y'all need to go and get this book. So tell everybody how, and I'll add the link to the live, but tell everybody how they can follow you on social media, how they can go out and purchase the book. Just give us some details.
Okay, perfect. So just like, if you want to buy anything in the world, from refrigerators to chocolate chip cookies, you can go to Amazon. And if you go to Amazon and type in, we'll see if it pops up here. So, the drive home,
Right.
If you type in the drive home McKinney, it's the youth athlete, parent dynamic. That'll pop up, and so you can get it there in paperback, and y'all can also get it in Kindle. Facebook group of the same name. So if you go to Facebook and search for in groups the drive home, the youth athlete parent dynamic, you can join that there. The other thing is for those that have, whether you're coaches or want multiple copies and such for a team, if you'll email us at Britt and Mark, that's BrittandMark, the drive home at gmail.com. We can set up some some special pricing and stuff there. And just so you know, like our mission is to give back. You may be familiar with Youth on Course. So Youth on Course is an organization that allows kids to go play golf courses for $5. So it's all about growing the game. So we give a portion of every book sold. Harold Varner III supports, his foundation supports YOC as well. And so we're excited about that. But you're looking forward to growing the community, and we love hearing from folks who have read it, and so good feedback, bad feedback, and just excited to be on the journey.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's awesome. Appreciate you sharing that information with our listeners. And like I said, I'm excited about reading the book. I'm intentional about reading 10, 15 pages a day, so I can really pick up what I need to pick up. So again, thank you all for being on. I think we got a big thank you from Danny Summerlin. Says thank you for sharing your experiences and advice. So this has been really great. So again, from the Junior Golf Podcast family, we want to thank you, Britt, for being on, and Mark, thank you, Ben, for being on as well. Tell Ben we said hello, okay?
We will.
We'll do it. Good luck to John as well.
I guess we'll probably see y'all at one of the next couple of tournaments, right?
I'm sure we'll see you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank y'all for being on.